Good morning, I'm Craig DeGrelli. It's Tuesday, May 20th, 2025, and these are your Unbiased Updates. President Trump says he asked Russia's Vladimir Putin point blank, when does the bloodshed stop? No breakthrough yet, but new details this morning on where peace talks could go next. And a chaotic confrontation outside an ICE facility turns criminal. One Democratic congresswoman faces federal charges, while another lawmaker walks free.
From the Straight Arrow News Studio, bringing the stories that matter to you from across the United States and around the world, these are today's Unbiased Updates.
As a ceasefire remains elusive, both Russia and Ukraine launched drone attacks overnight. Ukraine's military says Russia fired more than 100 drones. The Ukrainian Air Force claims it shot down 93 of them. The attacks come just hours after President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin spoke by phone for nearly 2 hours, part of Donald Trump's latest push to broker a ceasefire in a war that's now in its fourth year. There was no breakthrough, but Donald Trump says via Truth Social that ceasefire talks should begin immediately, following his calls with both Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Speaking to reporters in the Oval Office, President Trump acknowledged the complexity of the negotiations, but insisted progress is still possible.
I think something's going to happen. It's a very big egos involved, I tell you. Big egos involved, but I think something's going to happen. And if it doesn't, I'd just back away and they're going to have to keep going. Again, this was a European situation. It should have remained a European situation.
President Trump also said he pressed Putin directly during their call.
Of course I did. I talked to him about it. I said, when are we going to end this, Vladimir? I know him for a long time now. I said, when are we going to end this bloodshed, this bloodbath? It's a bloodbath. And I do believe he wants to end it.
The president also told reporters the Vatican has shown interest in hosting negotiations, though there has been no official confirmation of talks so far. Despite his repeated promise and efforts to end the war quickly, the path forward remains uncertain, with no concrete agreements in place yet. President Trump is heading to Capitol Hill this morning, trying to close the deal on what he's calling his big, beautiful bill. But behind the scenes, House Republicans are deeply divided, and Trump's pitch comes at a make-or-break moment for his signature tax and spending plan. The $3 trillion package includes sweeping tax cuts, Medicaid work requirements, and big rollbacks to clean energy incentives. But it's also drawing fire from all sides. Hardline conservatives say the cuts do not go far enough. Moderates are pushing back on proposals that would slash food aid and health benefits. Speaker Mike Johnson is trying to thread the needle, but the clock is ticking. A key committee vote is set for the middle of the night, or 1 a.m. Eastern, and a full House vote could come as early as tomorrow afternoon. Donald Trump is expected to rally the GOP conference this morning, urging them to, quote, stop stalling and get it done. The U.S. Justice Department has now filed federal charges against Democratic Congresswoman LaMonica McIver, accusing her of assaulting law enforcement officers during a recent visit to an ICE facility in Newark. Acting U.S. Attorney for New Jersey, Alina Habba, announced the charges Monday on X, saying McIver is accused of assaulting, impeding, and interfering with ICE officers earlier this month. McIver responded in a statement calling the charges, quote, purely political. She says the truth will come out in court. The congresswoman was arrested last month alongside fellow Democrat Newark Mayor Ras Baraka, who is currently running for governor. The two were visiting the detention center as part of what they describe as official federal oversight, arriving as protests were happening outside. Federal prosecutors have dropped the charges against Baraka. He has since said he expects McIver will also be vindicated. McIver claims ICE agents were the aggressors and says members of the Democratic delegation were assaulted during the visit.
What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now!
The U.S. Supreme Court is allowing the Trump administration to move forward with ending temporary protected status for an estimated 350,000 Venezuelans living in the United States. Civil rights groups say the decision puts thousands of people at risk of deportation, many of whom fled economic collapse and political unrest. The Biden administration had extended TPS protections in 2023, citing dangerous conditions in Venezuela. The High Court's unsigned order reverses a lower court ruling that had temporarily blocked the rollback. The federal judge had allowed TPS protections to remain in place at least until a broader legal challenge played out. TPS allows people already in the U.S. to live and work legally if their home country is deemed unsafe due to natural disasters, conflict, or humanitarian crises. In Venezuela's case, the country remains mired in skyrocketing inflation, political crackdowns, and what international observers call a fraudulent election. The Trump administration has been actively trying to deport members of the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua over the past few months, sending some to El Salvador while flights back to Venezuela remain tied up in the courts. Now to a timely release. Just a few days after the country learned that former President Joe Biden has an aggressive form of prostate cancer, the book Original Sin, President Biden's Decline, Its Cover-Up, and His Decision to Run Again, is hitting store shelves. The authors, CNN's Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson from Axios, claim there were two versions of President Biden. One that the public saw, the other that was, quote, non-functioning behind closed doors. NPR is reporting that Biden's aides tried to shield his cognitive decline from the press and public, limiting access and avoiding tough questions. The book cites an unnamed Democrat as saying even before the 2020 Democratic National Convention, it was, quote, like watching grandpa who shouldn't be driving. The book also argues the media failed to press hard enough, especially as signs of decline became more visible. Some Republicans are now calling it a cover-up.
I think what there was not was enough very clear, vigilant, and tough questioning and coverage about what everybody could see.
According to the Los Angeles Times review, Biden was one of 5 staffers running the country, describing him as a symbolic senior figure. The authors write that the original sin was Biden's efforts to run for re-election in 2024 while trying to conceal his decline. Finally, no LeBron James for the Lakers, no Steph Curry for the Warriors. So who is going to emerge as the key superstar to carry his team to the NBA title this year? Perhaps we're about to find out. The conference finals get underway tonight as the Oklahoma City Thunder, who blew out the Nuggets on Sunday, take on the Minnesota Timberwolves in Game 1 of the Western Conference Final. On the other side of the bracket, tomorrow the New York Knicks take on the Indiana Pacers. The Knicks are the talk of the town in the Big Apple after knocking off the Boston Celtics. Their star is Jalen Brunson. Now, admittedly, I'm a hockey guy, but I'll take a stab at this. Now, I know that ESPN Radio has been talking up the Knicks because they beat the Celtics, and this Jalen Brunson is supposedly the next big thing. So I'm going with the Knicks. On the other side, I was surfing around my TV on Sunday, and I saw that Oklahoma City was beating Denver by like 40 points. They've got to be like a Goliath. So I'll go with the Knicks and the Thunder. That's my 2 cents. Those are your unbiased updates for this Tuesday, May 20th. We'll see you back here tomorrow. For all of us here at Straight Arrow News, I'm Craig DeGrelli. Have a great day.